Hello everyone, Mobius1 here, bringing you my 200th SWGEmu episode. A few months ago, user PingPing88 posted on the SWGEmu subreddit asking if there existed a short 5-minute video showing the reasons why someone who's unfamiliar with galaxies may want to give it a try. Unfortunately, it's taken me way longer to put this together than I would have liked, and I doubt I can say everything I want to say in 5 minutes or less, but I'll make it as concise as I can, so here goes. Why should you try SWGEmu? The Sandbox. Star Wars Galaxies is a sandbox-style MMO. This differs from more modern MMOs like World of Warcraft in many ways, most notably the lack of hand-holding and direction. I'll say right up front that this is both a positive and a negative. Sandbox-style games offer both an incredible sense of freedom, but can also be relatively light on actual in-game content. Yes, there are endgame PvE dungeons and faction-based PvP in Galaxies, but not to the scale someone who has played WoW may expect in an MMO. In SWG, players create their character and are thrown into the game with a few items, some money, and that's it. The game expects players to create their own goals and work towards them at their own pace. In that sense, Galaxies may be more accurately compared to a game like Minecraft. Obviously, the gameplay mechanics are vastly different, but in both games, it's up to the player to decide what they want to do within the game world using the tools available to them. Do you want to build your own house and decorate the ever-loving Sith out of it? Do you want to visit all of the famous locations from the movies? Do you want to become a server-famous weaponsmith or even a server-famous chef? In SWG, you can. Speaking of weaponsmiths and chefs, the next reason you should try SWG is the profession system. When you create a character in SWG, you choose from 6 starting professions: brawler, artisan, scout, medic, marksman, and entertainer. From there, characters branch out and train in over 25 elite and hybrid professions, ranging from combat professions like commando and bounty hunter, to crafting professions like armorsmith and droid engineer, to even social professions like dancer or politician. Experience in SWG is gained based on what you do or how you do it. For example, killing a creature with a pistol will grant the player pistol combat experience, which can then be used to learn pistol-specific skills. This allows characters to specialize in their chosen field and means that a character can be deadly with one weapon and still be a novice with another. Each character has a set number of skill points to spend on boxes within each profession's skill tree. There is no way to increase this skill point cap, but players can surrender skills they have already learned to regain the skill points they spent and spend them elsewhere. This means that over time, a single character can, while not all at once, master every profession in the game. Tired of fighting? Try musician. Don't want to be an entertainer? What about a crafter? And that brings us to our next reason to try SWG, the crafting system. I've met dozens of players over the years that tell me how they've never crafted in other MMOs but fall absolutely in love with the crafting in SWG. In other MMOs such as WoW or even SWTOR, players gather resources by finding static resource nodes throughout the world and gathering them by clicking on them. They then take those resources and craft items or gear with them that have stats set by the game devs in such a way that every item of the same name will be identical. It's impossible to cover all of the intricacies of SWG's crafting system in this video, but here's the gist. Resources in Galaxies change over time. This means crafters need to go out and survey with tools to find new resource spawns every couple of days. Not only do the locations change, but each resource in SWG has multiple stat values for different attributes such as conductivity, potential energy, and overall quality. When a crafter makes an item in SWG, the stats on the final product will reflect the quality of the resources used to make it. This means if one crafter uses a higher quality metal when making their weapons or armor, the stats on that armor will be better than someone using lower quality metals. The crafting in SWG is not some side task to do between combat. It is its own game in and of itself. There are players in SWG that only play to craft. They sign in, find new resources, and try to make the strongest items on the server. It's also worth noting that unlike other MMOs where endgame gear is typically looted from raid bosses, in SWG the best gear is all player made. Some endgame NPCs may drop components needed to craft that gear, but it's ultimately up to the players to make it themselves. When you take this system, then introduce the unique open world player housing system in SWG, you end up with players coming together to open in-game malls, where crafters can set up their own NPC vendors to sell goods to other players. And that's the best segue I've got to the next reason to give SWG a try. The community. While no online community is perfect, the SWG community does have something special going for it. The fact that the game is no longer officially supported means that the only people playing it are people that have actively searched it out. No one's going to stumble across SWG in a store or on a Steam sale and pick it up on a whim. This means that every single player playing SWGEmu is at least partially passionate about the game, and for most of them, it shows. People will hang out in the cantinas and chat with each other. People will dress up and roleplay. People will organize entire events like races or beauty contests. This emulator project has been running for so long because the people who are working on it and playing it love it. Most members of the community are very helpful and will help new players by giving them credits to afford doctor buffs or even purchasing vehicles and armor for them. SWG may not be perfect, but it's got one really strong thing going for it. Our final reason to give the game a try. It's Star Wars. Seriously, there's just something about being able to live in the Star Wars universe that's magical. When you open up the client for the first time and hear the Rebel Fleet theme from the Empire Strikes Back soundtrack, if you're like me, you'll get goosebumps. When you go out exploring Tatooine and find the escape pod used by R2-D2 and C-3PO, it may not be the most exciting thing in the world, but it might make you smile a little. If you decide to join either the Rebel Alliance or the Galactic Empire, you really feel like you're making a commitment to them because you chose to, not because the game forced you to at character creation. You're not a hero in Star Wars Galaxies. At least, not the main hero. And for some people, that might be a turnoff. But to a lot of us, it's cool to not be the main focus. It's cool to live in a breathing world, a living universe that evolves based on the people that are in it. And while the game might not be filled with pop culture references like World of Warcraft is, there are tons of references to not only the movies, but also other games or maybe even some of the novels. And when you find those references, it just feels cool. Star Wars Galaxies is old. It released over 15 years ago in 2003. Certain parts of it have not aged well. The graphics are dated, the combat is spammy, the profession system can be grindy, and it's definitely got its fair share of bugs and glitches. But at the end of the day, no other game lets you live out your Star Wars fantasy quite like SWG. I hope this video helps at least a couple of people out there decide one way or the other if SWG sounds like something they'd be interested in playing. I want to end the video by saying that yes, in order to play on any SWGEmu server legally, you are required to own a copy of the client. There are multiple versions of the game you can use, all of which can usually be found on eBay for like $20 to $40. I'll include a link in the video description to the official SWGEmu post that goes over which versions can be used. Oh yeah, one more thing. While it's still in development by the SWGEmu team, once the space expansion Jump to Lightspeed is implemented, that right there is reason enough to play for anyone who likes flying games. It's incredible. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for your continued support to 200 episodes. I have more to come, so stay tuned and leave some comments. I love reading them. Mobius1 here, and I'll see you next time.